Hey, it's Liberty, and today I'm going to be picking my next few reads based on the first 30 seconds of each audiobook. I've been struggling to find something to read for a while. Obviously, I'm reviewing Jane Eyre chapter by chapter on TikTok or my YouTube shorts, but I need another audiobook to have on the go, while I'm doing things. I love audiobooks. I use Scribd for all my audiobooks and ebooks as well. So I'm going to be taking a look at some, I think 7 that I have saved on my to-read list and pick my next couple, maybe 3. If you like this, do give it a thumbs up. I make videos all about books, history, personality, quite a few things. So do check those out and subscribe if you would like to. I'm going to get straight into it now. So I've got my computer here. So the first option that I'm going for is The Book of Magic by Alice Hoffman. And this is narrated by Jennifer Ehle. I think that's how you pronounce her name, but she is Elizabeth Bennet in the 1994 Pride and Prejudice that the BBC did. So great start. Loving this music already. Future editing, Liberty here. You're not going to hear the first little bit of this one because I am an idiot, and you will hear why in a second. That sounds incredibly intriguing. First of all, we've got libraries, love. I feel gripped already, and we know our protagonist, we know how old she is. This is up there, not gonna lie already. It is the second book in a series, Practical Magic 2. Master storyteller Alice Hoffman brings us the conclusion of the Practical Magic series. That is on me for not noticing that, but you know what? I am absolutely going to be reading Practical Magic instead. I'm just going to double check to see if they have it on Scribd. They don't, but I might actually go and buy that. So, either way, this is quite a little bit of a success story. So the next option that I've got is Stonehenge by Bernard Cornwell. Now, I have just finished a book by him in his series about the 100 Years' War. The description of this says that on a summer's day, a dying stranger carrying great wealth in gold comes to the settlement of Ratharan. The 3 sons of Ratharan's chief each perceive the great gift in a different way. The eldest, Lengar, the warrior, harnesses his murderous ambition to be a ruler and take great power for his tribe. Caliban becomes a great visionary and feared wise man, and it is his vision that will force the younger brother, Saban, either one, to create a great temple on the green hill where the gods will appear on earth. Saban's love for Orenna, the sun bride, whose destiny it is to die for the gods, finally brings the rivalries of the brothers to a head. But it is also his skill that will build the vast temple, a place for the gods certainly, but also a place that will confirm forever the supreme power of the tribe that built it. So obviously we are looking at the origin story of Stonehenge for this one. So let's see if that...
The gods talk by signs. It may be a leaf falling in summer, the cry of a dying beast, or the ripple of wind on calm water. It might be smoke lying close to the ground, a rift in the clouds, or the flight of a bird. But on that day, the gods sent a storm. It was a great storm, a storm that would be remembered, though folk did not name the year by that storm. Instead, they called it the year the stranger came. For a stranger came to Ratharan on the day of the storm. It was a summer's day, the same day that Saban was almost murdered by his half-brother. The gods were not talking that day. They were screaming.
Okay, that sounds great. Obviously, there's a lot happening, a lot to unpack, a lot to intrigue us. I'm fresh off another Bernard Cornwell, so I'm not getting, I have to read this right now, but it's definitely high up there. Next, I've got Summers at Castle Auburn. So the little blurb for this says, a woman blessed or cursed with a talent for witchcraft returns to Castle Auburn, where she spent her childhood in joy, only to find an aura of dread awaiting her. Like that. Let's have a listen.
The summer I was 14, my uncle Jackson took me with him on an expedition to hunt for Aliora. I had only seen the fey delicate creatures in captivity, and then only when I was visiting Castle Auburn. I was as excited about the trip to the Phelan River as I had been about anything in my life. I had been surly at first when Greta insisted that I could not go alone with my uncle, such a far distance from the castle. People will say things, she pronounced in her hateful voice. A young girl and an older man going off together for 3 nights or more. It will cause talk. He's my uncle, I pointed out, but Greta was not appeased. She did not like me, and I assumed her ambition was more to thwart my glorious adventure than to protect my reputation.
Not gonna lie, not really feeling this. I'm getting Eleanor of Aquitaine being accused of incest with her uncle in the last book that I recently read this book. Not really for me. I mean, it does sound, adventures, female protagonist, but yeah, too much unnecessary. So the next one that I have got is The House of the Dead by Dostoevsky. I tried and failed to read Crime and Punishment. Was it this year? I hope it was this year. I couldn't really do it, but I want to try again because I really want to read The Idiot, and I would like to at least be able to sort of get into his writing style before I read that, because that's one I really, really, really want to read. So this one, House of the Dead, accused of political subversion as a young man. Oh, Dostoevsky, I did know that, was sentenced to 4 years of hard labour at a Siberian prison camp. Didn't realise it was 4 years. For some reason, I always thought it was more. A horrifying experience from which he developed this astounding semi-autobiographical memoir of a man condemned to 10 years of servitude for murdering his wife. Maybe that's why I think it's more. As with a number of the author's other works, his profoundly influential novel brilliantly explores his character's thoughts while probing the depths of the human soul. Describing in relentless detail the physical and mental suffering of the convicts, Dostoevsky's character never loses faith in human qualities and the goodness of man. A haunting and remarkable work filled with wonder and resignation, The House of the Dead ranks among the Russian novelist's greatest masterpieces. Of this powerful autobiographical novel, Tolstoy wrote, "I know no better book in all of modern literature." Now that is high praise, and I love Tolstoy, so let's see if it lives up to that.
In the remote parts of Siberia, in the midst of steppes, mountains, or impassable forests, there are scattered here and there wretched little wooden towns of 1 or at the most 2,000 inhabitants, with 2 churches, one in the town and one in the cemetery, more like fair-sized villages in the neighbourhood of Moscow than towns. They are usually well provided with police officers, superintendents, and minor officials of all sorts. A post in Siberia is usually a snug berth in spite of the cold. The inhabitants are simple folk, and not of liberal views. Everything goes on according to the old-fashioned, solid, time-honoured traditions. The officials, who may fairly be said to be the aristocracy of Siberia, are either born and bred in Siberia, or men who have come from Russia, usually from Petersburg or Moscow, attracted by the extra pay, the double travelling expenses, and alluring hopes for the future.
This is high up there. I think it might just be the case that I just give Dostoevsky another try and hope this'll do it. I mean, no red flags in a minute. So next is The Perfect Crimes of Marion Hayes. Now, I recently read The Queer Principles of Kit Webb, and this is a sort of spin-off of that, following the character of Marion. Marion Hayes, the Duchess of Clare, just shot her husband. Of course, the evil, murderous man deserved what was coming to him, but now she must flee to the countryside. Unfortunately, the only person she can ask for help is the charismatic criminal who was blackmailing her, and who she may have left tied up a few hours before. A highwayman, con artist, and all-around a cheerful villain, Rob Brooks is no stranger to the wrong side of the law or the right side of anybody's bed. He never meant to fall for the woman whose secrets he promised to keep for the low price of £500. But how could he resist someone who led him on a merry chase all over London, left him tied up in a seedy inn, and then arrived covered in her husband's blood and in desperate need of his help? As they flee across the country, stopping to pick pockets, drink to excess, and rescue invalid cats, they discover more true joy and peace than either has felt in ages. But when the truth of Rob's past catches up to him, they must decide if they're willing to reshape their lives in order to forge a future together. Now that sounded like it was the whole book in a blurb, which is something that I hate. There were lots of sort of gaps in Marion's story in The Queer Principles of Kit Webb, and I wonder if that was intentional because I found it was quite annoying, because I really liked the character of Marion and I wanted more of her. So I guess this answers that question. Let's see what the first 30 seconds or so is like. Ooh.
Rob Brooks had not survived to the age of 25 without having mastered the art of escape. He had been arrested heaven only knew how many times, and convicted rather more often than he cared to admit. He had been charged with robbery, true, burglary, false, smuggling, true, but he hadn't known what was in those barrels, counterfeiting, false, and horse theft. He had done that horse a favour. By the age of 25, he had visited so many of His Majesty's establishments that if any publisher wished to commission a traveller's guide to the prisons of Surrey, Oxfordshire, and Buckinghamshire, They could seek no author more qualified than Rob.
So, when I spoke about my review in my last video of the Queer Principles of Kit Webb, I had a real issue with the narrator, and it is the same narrator. So I'm intrigued by this, and ordinarily this would be the first one I would go for, but I'm slightly put off by that because, yeah, I don't know what this accent, if this is his real accent or he's trying to put something on, but it just feels really weird. Maybe? The next book that I'm potentially going to be picking up is Shatter Me by Tahara Murphy. Now, I know that this is like a huge YA series and I've been wanting to read it for ages. One touch is all it takes. One touch and Juliet Ferrers can leave a fully grown man gasping for air. One touch and she can kill. No one knows why Juliet has such incredible power. It feels like a curse, a burden that one person alone could never bear. But the re-establishment, with a capital R, sees it as a gift, sees her as an opportunity for a deadly weapon. Juliet has never fought for herself before, but when she's reunited with the one person who ever cared about her, she finds a strength she never knew she had. Okay, I'm here for a girl who can kill someone with one touch, something which is clearly some kind of, establishment. So let's see what it sounds like.
I've been locked up for 264 days. I have nothing but a small notebook and a broken pen and the numbers in my head to keep me company. 1 window, 4 walls, 144 square feet of space, 26 letters in an alphabet I haven't spoken in 264 days of isolation. 6,336 hours since I've touched another human being. You're getting a cellmate. No, roommate, they said to me. We hope you rot to death in this place. Wait, for good behavior, they said to me. Another psycho just like you. No more isolation, they said to me. They are the minions of the reestablishment, the initiative that was supposed to help our dying society.
Okay, that sounds great. It sounds like we got sound effects in there. Audio narrator sounds great. This has jumped right up there. I'm very excited. So it looks like it's probably going to be this or Stonehenge or House of the Dead. Probably either this or House of the Dead. So it will take a lot to beat one of those two. And the last book that I want to try and see if this will be on my next up is Star Daughter. Now, I think I might even own a physical copy of this book. I'm not sure. I have to check. I was intrigued because this is like, I think it's an Indian author. Yeah. And so I've always said, I want to read more Indian authors. And this is like really, really highly recommended. If the night sky holds many secrets, it holds Sheetal Mystery's secret the closest. A secret that explains why her hair is the silver of starlight, or why some nights the stars call Sheetal by name. Stars like her mother, who returned to her place in the constellation Pushuya years ago. Since that day, Sheetal has been forced to hide. But as her 17th birthday draws near, the pull from the sky is growing stronger. So strong that Sheetal loses control, and a flare of starfire burns her human father, an injury only a full star's blood can heal. Sheetal has no choice but to answer the star song and ascend to the sky, but her celestial family has summoned her for a reason, to act as a human champion in a competition to decide the next ruling house of the heavens. Desperate to save her father, Sheetal agrees, but nothing could have prepared Sheetal to face the stars of dark history, or the forces that are working to shut the gate between the realms for good. Okay, I think this might be it. I love a great fantasy world. This is YA fantasy, I think. She's amazing. She's got a power, and it's stars. Oh my god. Okay. Also, she's half of something, and I like that. I am also half of something. Let's listen. This is definitely it.
We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Oscar Wilde.
Love Oscar Wilde.
My mother is a star. I am half of the earth, half of the heavens. Cut me and I might bleed silver. My skin is a rich brown, the exact shade of my human father's skin. But my hair is long and thick and frosted like the moon. In my chest burns a fiery core that beats in time with the music of the spheres, their song deep and layered with dreams. My mother is a star, one of many bright jewels who sing praises in the skies, who view us from on high. She chose to come down and make a life on Earth, but it wasn't long before she yearned to go home.
Okay, yeah, this is it. This sounds great. Yeah, I was just so intrigued by the concept. Yeah, I mean that honestly, that blurb probably did it for me. Like it just needed to be a good first impression, and it would have won by a landslide. So it's going to be Star Daughter, and then I think House of the Dead. So those are going to be the two books that I read next. So yeah, I consider this a nice little experiment. It's like listening to one bunch of things one after the other, really. I know they're different genres. You know, we had historical fiction, fantasy, YA, classics. But sometimes you do just need to see what you're in the mood for. And yeah, I've picked my two reads. So sorry if that was incredibly boring, but, you know, letting people in on the process of you know, picking books and into my mind, the mind of a mood reader. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed that, do give it a little thumbs up, and do let me know what you're reading next, how you choose to read next, because that's a conversation that I want to have, because obviously this is what I do, and you know, I will start books and read a page and go, that's not for me, and then put it down, and then maybe pick it up in a couple of years' time or a couple of months' time. It really depends. But I know some people are just dedicated. Some people don't DNF a book ever, and some people do it regularly. So do let me know what your process is regards to that, because yeah, it's interesting. And we're coming up to the halfway mark, so it's going to be soon time for that mid-year freak out tag. So happy reading.